Um, so after the webinar is over, I will be posting a recording of the webinar as well as a PDF of the presentation to our website. So you'll just be able to log into your SUSTA account, click on past webinars, and you can see this webinar as well as other previous webinars there. They're great resources as you are researching different countries. Um, so today we will be hearing from Andrea Ramirez with Imalinx. Imalinx has been SUSTA's consultant for the last year, and Andrea has been working for them for about 6 years, and we are excited to have her present to us today from her office in Mexico. She brings a lot of expertise about the Mexican market. So I will speak very briefly and then we'll move on to her presentation. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to type them into the Q&A or chat box and we will address those at the end of the webinar. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is SUSTA's region. We work with small businesses throughout the South, helping them find export markets, connect them with foreign buyers, and we can also help with some of the expenses tied to exporting and promoting your products in a foreign market. I think most of you are pretty familiar with SUSTA, but if anybody has questions, you all have my contact information, and I'd love to set up a call with anybody who wants to talk more about how we can help your company specifically. I did want to mention our upcoming events that are targeting Mexico. Our pavilion at ANTAD in Alimentaria is in March, or end of March, early April, and I included some photos from last year's event. This is a wonderful trade show in Guadalajara for the food and beverage sectors. And companies who exhibit at this trade show can apply for SUSTA's 50% cost share program to receive 50% reimbursement of their booth fees, any furniture rental, equipment rental. I see a refrigerator in this photo here. So anything like that that you rent, badge scanners, as well as travel expenses for 2 employees or company representatives, freight for shipping samples and marketing materials. If you wanted to advertise in the trade show directory, that's also 50% reimbursable. If you had to hire somebody to help work your booth, that would also be 50% reimbursable. So again, our purpose is to help make these types of events financially and logistically feasible for a small business. We also have a Mexico inbound trade mission coming up in August. It's going to take place in Texas and Georgia. And this is where we bring buyers from Mexico here to the U.S. to meet with our companies. They have one-on-one meetings like you can see in these photos, so you are able to introduce your products to several different buyers without leaving the U.S., and the cost is incredibly low. This is a $25 trade mission, as most of our trade missions are. And then I also included a photo on the right. We took the buyers to see several different retailers, such as Whole Foods. So, we're also giving them a good feel for the for products in America and what is trending here. So if anybody's interested, that event is still open for registration. ANTAD is full and is coming up soon. So be looking for the event for next year if you're interested in that trade show. We go every year. So I'm sure we will also be there in 2021. But if you are interested in the Mexico inbound trade mission in August, when I follow up with a link for today's webinar, I'll also send a link to that trade mission. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give Andrea the ability to share her screen, and she will give her presentation on Mexico. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you. Good morning to all. Thank you for the introduction. And as Daniel was saying, I'm going to share my screen so we can start with the presentation. Please confirm, Daniel, if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So I know most of the companies or some companies registered again for this logistic webinar. and you had last one with Marco, but I'm gonna introduce Imalinx for the people that haven't heard about us. So we are a go-to-market company that develops strategies for food and beverage here in Mexico and Latin America. And our goal, of course, is to make this region one of the top 3 markets for our clients. We have diversified our industries. Right now, we cover 8 different ones, going through added value, gourmet products, produce, processed, bakery, dried fruits, frozen dairy, wine and spirits, and beer. So we kind of know a little bit of each. And our coverage goes to 9 different countries here in the region. From Mexico all the way to Colombia, we cover Puerto Rico and sometimes even Chile. So we also can help with those markets. Our services, it's developing a marketing strategy, going through market intelligence. We share with SUSTA a lot of information from our market. We have key contacts here in the country that we speak with them very often. We do the trade missions, as Daniel was saying. We have one upcoming in August. We develop trade marketing strategies, public relations, and consumer programs. Talking a little bit more about our market, Mexico is the second largest economy here in Latin America. And this year, with the changes in our government, we have a conservative growth for 2020. As you can see, GDP haven't changed in the last year. And that's because it's the first time that we have a government, like a left government. But the market has been evolved. There has been growth in the trade part. It's not been complicated. It haven't changed. And with the TMEC approved, now the free trade between Mexico, US, and Canada will be certain for the next 16 years. So that will also help us. About the exchange rate, here is a table from October to today. And as you can see, right now it's a little bit more stable. So, I mean, imports and export markets are all about exchange rate. So this will facilitate the process for you to now to send right now some products, maybe samples, or try to look into Mexico as an export market. Talking about regions, I think that this is very important for me to share with you. We have different consumers, and the north parts, North Plateau and Central, which is Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City, it's where most of the trade happens. So as SUSTA and being on the south part of the US, it's very convenient for you and in the logistic part to send your products into Mexico. But we have to take a look also a little bit more into the Northwest to Tijuana, that it's been growing a lot on the last years. So there's where our volume and our high-end products are moving right now. As you can see here in the on the SEL, sorry, the same triangle works. The A, B region, C plus is where we have to take a look at with our added value products and gourmet. The consumer has changed. We have now very rational consumers that are looking for a lot of information through media, technology. We have these global trends about keto diet, gluten-free, organic products. We have a higher purchase frequency that also can help us to communicate what our products are about. So you have to take in advantage, in consideration, all these specific points whenever you want to start working in, not just in Mexico, but in other countries apart from the US. The differentiation is specific. I was looking at the list that Daniel shared with me about the products and your companies. And I think that all of them fits on what the importers and buyers, retailer buyers are looking for, which are healthy, high quality products, added value, snacks, ready to cook, not ready to eat. That's a very different thing. But of course, organic, frozen food, bakery products, everything. I think that we as SUSTA and the companies that are now attending to the seminar are very accurate. The potential, of course, is specialty retail formats with added value experience. There is a big company called La Comer, which is a retailer that has a very high-end supermarket here in Mexico. And they are also looking for these really added value products, but with an experience, not just having them on the shelves. So that's also something that you have to think about. National retailers give us a lot of volume some of the times, but we have to take a look into the regional ones. They are developing a really good and really big new categories about these organic gluten-free convenience products and snacks. And the supply chain is more logical for you guys than from other regions that are in the US. Talking a little bit more about the retailers. As you can see, of course, Walmart is our biggest retailer here in Mexico with 38% share. But we have to take a look, and I suggest that you take notes on this. Smart, Al Super, H-E-B, and Arteli, even though they have a few stores compared to the nationwide retailers, they are based on the northeast region of Mexico. So that will help us and you from the logistics part, because it's easier to get the products in there. So yeah, of course you have to look at that. Going more into the logistics, I think that the main idea of this slide is that you have to be patient. From the first time that you are thinking into getting your products into Mexico, to get a reorder or feedback of how the sales went with your first order, it can take from 6 months to a year or even more. It depends. So what we recommend, and we can help you with that, is that you understand first the business culture in Mexico. I think that it's very important that you are part of all these webinars and trade missions and trade shows that we will be working, because that way you can see and also ask the contacts here in Mexico and for their feedback first of how you can do business. And of course, set your priorities. I mean, there are a lot of markets that you can look at, but if you're gonna make Mexico one of them, then you have to focus on it and understand, define marketing supports, see who you want to meet first, where do you want your products, and also the most important thing is understand the cost structure. I think that this is the main or challenge that we have with exporting companies, that they don't fully understand the cost structure, and when the importer or the retail buyer says, well, very high on shelves, it won't work, then we lose this intention to export. Business happen, but you have to, of course, develop this relationship, get the deal, and follow up with your priorities. Some of the challenges about accessing our market is these 3 points: credit, the relationship that you have with the buyer, and the legal protection. About credit, most of the retailers, if you go directly through them, they ask for 60 to 90-day credit. It can happen or not on the first order. Sometimes they pay immediate because it's the first time, but you have to take that in consideration for your cash flow. The relationship is very important. Sometimes we think that we're ready to send products into one market, and we start doing this follow-up, and then either US companies or Mexican buyers stop answering either emails or phone calls. So as we are having this limited personal contact, these cultural barriers in terms of language, and we don't understand fully our counterpart, that can be challenging. So we're here also to help you with that and the legal protection, of course, between you and the people that you're going to do business with. About delivery, this is more about the logistics. We have three types of responsibility of your side as exporters. We have ex-works, we have delivery at frontier, and the one that you send all the way to the Mexican company warehouse. The common one is the DAF or FOB, as it's more common to understand, which is where you send the product and you are in charge and responsibility from your warehouse to delivering into the crossing or border city, where the importer will take care of the rest of the process. About the commercial terms, of course, will I be able to collect? Yes, you have to take care of your interests and also be competitive and offer something good to your client when you said which way of delivery are you gonna choose. About where will be your crossing point, we have three crossing borders, which is San Diego, Nogales, and Laredo. Laredo is the most important and the most convenient for you, which you will be crossing groceries, dried goods, and beverages. And it's very convenient because if you want to send some products to Mexico and the rest of the country, you have to go through Laredo. Most of the supermarkets and importers have warehouses there. So again, you as SUSTA companies and being on the southern part of the region of the US, it's a very good region for us to develop business opportunities here. As for quotes, sometimes they tell you, send me a quote, but they are not very specific on how much they want to. So what we recommend is, we know that if they get more product, it will be more less expensive for the importers and buyers. But always take in account 1, 4, 10, and 20 pallets. Send different options to your contacts so you can decide which one will. About, you can see here a small, so you can see where are your states, from the start, which is Laredo City, is closer than, for example, if you send.
Andrea? Andrea, your line is breaking up a little bit. Oh, hello. Okay, maybe it's fixed now. Sorry, go ahead. It was just kind of breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me now, Will?
Yes. Sorry to interrupt. Shoot. Okay. Sorry, I don't know what's going on, but we are. Oh. Sorry. Yeah, we're catching like fragments of the words. Shoot. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me better here?
Yes, that's great.
Perfect. So as I was telling you, I put a small map here with the estimated cost of shipping from Laredo to Mexico City. So as you can see, there's a railway all the way to Mexico City from Laredo, and the cost is very competitive against, for example, sending to San Diego, from San Diego to Mexico City, which is double the price on freight. So I also put New Orleans and Veracruz, which is will be from sea. And yeah, that's the estimated cost. Of course, you have to check with your freight company and with the importer to make sure that these are, and it also depends on the category that you're sending. This is for dried fruits, dried goods. This is the required document is very important that you have everything, because it has happened to us that some of the times um, we forget about one document or one signature or something, and the people of customs here in Mexico, they reject the complete load. So always, we suggest that you always check with your counterpart and your customs agent what are the documents that you will need to do the for you to do the imports. I think, and I suggest that you always take these required documents as a base. Of course, sometimes you will need something else or something less, but the commercial invoice, all the certificates of origin and inspections, phytosanitary certificate, if that's the case, way bill, packing list, instructions, everything that will help you determine the origin, the condition, and the value of the products. And of course, compliance with the regulations and everything with with um, the ministry of that takes are in charge of the imports. So in Mexico, we need an agent that is it's part of the importers team to do these international transactions. And there's a Mexican government part also that is in the process that will check all these documents, and he's the one that will determine if the product can cross the country or if it's not ready. So I suggest that you also take a really good look at that. This is a certificate of origin examples. They are issued by your local chamber of commerce or your exporter's representative. And yeah, this is the document that most of the times give us headaches. So make sure that you send that you fill all the document, and that is this exact same information that you're sending in your load. Because if there's a number or a letter that it's different from the list of products that you're sending or the truck that you're sending, they will reject the product. So we want you to make sure that you follow these instructions as they should be, so you don't have any issues whenever you send products into Mexico. Samples can be also challenging, so make sure that your custom agents help you with that, and you send also the information required. About the custom imports operations, you have to take also all these costs, because most of the times whenever the product is here in the country, it might cost double or 3 times the price that it's in the US. So I'm going to explain each of this: the product value and the incremental expenses. That's the value of your product in units, and all the incremental expenses for you to send it. That means all the pallets, the grabbing, the warehouse, everything for you to start doing all the business. After that, you have to take in consideration the duties and research about if your product have tariffs. Most of them doesn't, but I know that alcoholic beverage like wine, spirits, and beers have a tariff. I think it's 30% tariff on the commercial invoice. So that also will increment the cost at the end when you send the product into Mexico. Maneuvers, handling costs, that's the cost of sending or freight the truck from your warehouse all the way to the border city. So, and that means gasoline, truck, driver, everything that you can think of to handle that product, that pallet, that truck into the border city. After that, we have the custom agent fee. This is variable and it's most of the time based on the commercial invoice. It depends on the custom agents, the percentage of fee that he charges, and also the insurance of the product that you will be sending into Mexico. After that, there's a Mexican tax that is charged after all these costs, and that will always be there. I mean, it's the 16% tax. Here is an example of how it looks. I can share with Daniel this Excel sheet, so you can work on it and try to make some exercises of your products. But this is an example, Marcolini's cane sauce. The product cost is 5 cents, and we will be selling 10,000 units. So the total cost is $5,000. The incremental expenses to border, which is additional packaging, the freight and everything, is an estimate of 1,000. And the cost of that product will be $6,000. After that, we have the total duties, forwarding, and expenses. So you'll see that there's a certificate of origin that doesn't have any cost. Then we have the cost of permit that it's 0.8%. And then the maneuvers, export expenses, forwarding freight, etc. Then we have the custom agent fee. That's the variable part of the cost. It depends on the partner that you have, the freight insurance, and the imports fee, just in case you're using a trading import company as a broker, for example. So you can see that the imported operation will be $1,092. That's the total duties plus the fees and insurance. And after that, it goes the Mexican VAT. So the total cost import will be $1,200 plus the product and the incremental expenses to the border. That will be $7,200. The domestic freight, more or less 1,000. So your total unit cost will increment from 0.5 cents to 0.83 cents. And after that, you have to also take in account the percentage or margin that the importer is going to add to it, and the margin of the retailer, because of course it's very important that you take it in a consideration, because at the end the product will be maybe from that 0.83%, 50% more, which will be maybe the 20% of the importer and the 30% margin of the retailer. So that's how the landed cost analysis might look. Again, it depends on the category, the type of freight that you need, if it's dried goods, frozen, or refrigerated products. And yeah, that's the example that I had for you. So logistically, it's very important that you see and don't forget any of these parts whenever you are quoting to the importer or the retailer, so you can see more or less if your price will be part of the or will be competitive in the category you are exploring in the market. There is a harmonized code. This is information that also you can look at on the internet. It's very important because it gives you annual and monthly statistics per origin for imports and exports. So there's a standard, this is a standard code for international trade, and it's formed by 8 digits. The chapter, the classification, subclassification, and fraction. I know most of you might know which are your harmonized codes for your products. So if you want to see how's the market here in Mexico in that specific category, you can go to CIABI. Here is the link. I can share to Daniel that as well. but you can see there the monthly annual statistics on how the product is moving. It will give you as well some idea on if you have like a seasonality here in the country. So you can look for the best time to send samples and get your first purchase order. Uh, as a closure, I put something here for 2020. We have webinars, as Daniel said, we have ANTAD coming in, but taking account participating in the inbound trade mission. Last year, we got 4 companies from here, from Mexico, and they were willing and very open to look into the company's products and also give some feedback about if you have chance to get into the Mexican market, because sometimes we don't know and it's normal. So you have to take all this knowledge that the importers and buyers have to get you feedback about the product and how you can manage the exports here in Mexico as well. So I don't know, maybe now it's time for the Q&A. So we can talk a little bit more if you have questions or something, Daniel.
Yes, I am looking to see if we have any questions. Can we work with Imalinx individually to create a right entry strategy? For us to get into Mexico, we will be happy to use Imalinx as our consultant. So SUSTA uses Imalinx to help us with our strategies, and they can provide some support to companies individually, but I would say there's a limit on that assistance. Andrea, I don't know if you want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I mean, we can give you assistance. For example, if you're looking into a specific retailer, we can give you feedback on how to develop the relationship. We can share the contacts with you. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're here to create these business opportunities for all the companies in the SUSTA team.
Yes, great, thank you. Does anybody else? That's the only question that I've seen come through so far. So, do you guys provide importer matchmaking services? Yes. And that is done also, through the inbound trade missions. There's, those are matchmaking, one-on-one meetings. So that's another, way to find the foreign buyers.
Yes, and also really go and ask for information on the Department of Agriculture of each state. We've been doing a lot of communication with Tennessee, with Georgia, with Texas, and we have helped some companies to get more information about their specific categories. And of course, as I was saying, feedback about different retailers here in Mexico, or if you need any kind of reference of an importer or a buyer that is interested in your products, we also can help with that. So we can make sure that you're doing business with the right people.
Great, thank you so much. All right, let's see if another one just popped up. What will be the best way to reach out to Andrea? Do I first need to contact SUSTA to set up the meetings? Yes, why don't you send me an email and we'll make an introduction. And I think everybody has my email address, but just in case you need it, it's danielle@susta.org. All right, and another question. What is the most important factor buyers are seeking?
Right now, the most important is price. Our market moves a lot around that. Here in Mexico, we look for quality, but we also look for good prices. So that's the main challenge that we have with importer products. Get the right price and get it in the right retail chains. So we know that consumers will pay a little bit more for these imported products. And also what retailers look for is marketing supports, because the product, if we put them on shelves, and if it's a new product, people doesn't know how to use it or that it's new in the market. So yeah, of course, it will be, if I should say, three: price, quality, and marketing supports.
Great. And when it comes to marketing support, keep in mind that SUSTA's 50% cost share program can be a big help with that if you want to do things like advertise. You know, once you gain distribution in a foreign country like Mexico or anywhere really, it's just like getting distribution in a new state or region of the U.S. You know, you have to support that market with advertisements, with shelf talkers or something, you know, some kind of in-store display, maybe in-store sampling. Those are all things that SUSTA can reimburse 50% of. So keep that in mind when you are thinking about supporting your distributors in the foreign market, that our other program, 50% cost share, really helps with that piece. Okay, another question. The transportation cost from Laredo to Mexico that is shown in the presentation is by train or by truck?
By truck.
By truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's estimated. As I was saying, it depends on the category and it depends on the logistics of the importer. So whenever you're trying to get product, make sure to ask your importer an estimated cost of the freight from Laredo to Mexico City. So you can take that amount in consideration when you're doing your landed cost analysis.
Great. Another question. Do buyers look for top-selling products in the U.S.? If not, how, wait, I just lost it. How important is, oh, shoot. Okay, I think it cut off the rest of the question. But I guess, is it being a popular product in the U.S. something important?
Yes, it is. Actually, whenever they go to the US, they ask for like retail visits so they can look how are the categories in the US. Normally, they take as reference Whole Foods or even Trader Joe's, how much they are, how much product you have in that category. So yeah, they take as a base the US, because over time the trends in the US migrates to Mexico. So yes, of course, they take it in consideration.
What about new product launches in the U.S. that are targeting the Hispanic market? So they might not be widely distributed in the U.S., but they're targeting that particular market. Would
Like
they
a
look at
region.
products like that?
Yes, they also do that, especially if, I mean, you are in the southern part, so Monterrey, Chihuahua, all these states that are near to that border, they are always looking for products that are similar, because if the consumers are near the border, sometimes they cross to the US to do their grocery shopping and come back to Mexico. So if they can look for the products in the US, I mean, if they see them in the US and in Mexico, it's very it's kind of sure that they will buy it here.
Sure, sure. Yeah, great for building the brand.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Let's see if anything else comes in. If not, that might be the end of questions. But if anything else comes up, again, please email me and I can get you in touch with Andrea. All right, yeah, I don't see anything else coming in. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
We look forward to really moving the needle when it comes to exports from the South going to Mexico. So again, we'll be posting the webinar on our website. I'll be sending out an email with instructions on how to find it later today. And thank you all for taking the time to be with us this morning. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.